Problem number 6 says that shoe store A is having a sale in which every pair of shoes is 40% off the regular price. Shoe store B is having a sale in which $40 is deducted from the regular price. So there's actually two parts to this question. Part A says that Richard is comparing the price of the same pair of shoes in both stores. In both stores, the shoes normally sell for $120. Which store has the better bargain? So I guess the first thing would be important for me to know what the word bargain means. Basically that means which store is selling the same pair of shoes for less money, which would be the better buy. With store A, it says here that the shoes normally sell for $120. At store A, we need to figure out what percent off the regular price, 40% off the regular prices. And so we can think of this two ways. We can think of, okay, well, if I can figure out what 40% of $120 is, I know that's how much money they're taking off the price. Or I can think, oh, well, if 40% is what they're not paying, then 60% is what they're paying for store A. So store A is going to be in red marker. So I can do it the first way, find 40% or 40 100ths of multiply 120. When I multiply that, it looks like I get 4,800. Make sure that's right, 48 two zeros, yep, over 100. And then when I reduce, it looks like I get $48 off. It's important that we write the word off, because 40% is how much they're taking off the price. So if they started at $120 and we take $48 away, it looks to me like we would have $72 pair of shoes. So at store A, they would cost $72. Now I'm going to do store A again, except for this time I'm going to do it a little differently. Instead of finding what 40% off of $120 is, or 40% of 120, so I can take it away, I know that if they pay full price, that's 100%. So if they're not having to pay 40% of it, then they are paying 60% of it. So instead of using the number 40%, we could use the number 60% and find 60% of 120, or 60 100ths per 100 of 120. And when I multiply straight across, 6 times 12 is 72, two zeros, over 100, and you can see again that when I reduce, I get 72, except for this time I didn't have to do any subtracting. So you can think of that either way for store A. So either way, store A is going to cost $72. You can think about how much 40% is and take that away, or you can think of what 60% is, because that's actually what they're paying. $72. In store B, it'll take a little less work. Store B just says that they take $40 off the price. So store B, we started with $120 and they're taking $40 off. Looks like to me that they will cost $80. So when I ask which store has the better bargain, you're buying the same pair of shoes. You can either buy it for $72 or $80. Store A is definitely the better bargain. You can save $8 more at store A. Part B of the question says that Gwen buys 3 identical pairs of shoes at store A. Alright, so she's buying at store A. Alright, so we're thinking this discount, 40% off the regular price. Alright, she pays $110.25 after the discount. What is the regular price of each pair? Okay, so a few things. If she's buying identical pairs of shoes, like it says in the first part here, then I know that each pair of shoes is going to be the same amount of money. So what I'm going to do before anything is I'm going to divide 110.25 by 3 so that I can figure out how much she paid for one pair of shoes. Okay, so you can think of that as a ratio if you would like. That's how much it cost for 3 pairs, so if I divide by 3, I can figure out how much it costs for one pair. And so when I do that, it looks to me like I get $36.75. Okay? $36.75. That's how much one pair costs after the discount. So again, we have to be careful about this. Each of the pairs of shoes is costing $36.75. That's after a 40% discount. This is where kind of like when I was talking about the 60%, that kind of comes in handy. So I'm going to, I don't want you to erase this, but for my sake, so I have room, I'm going to erase all the long division that I did, but I'm going to leave the answer so that I can see what I did. So in this problem, I'm going to actually draw a double number line because I think it's going to be more clear. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so each of these represents 10% like we have done in the past. There's 0% and there's 100%. And what we need to figure out is how much the regular price was. Okay, the regular price before the discount. So if they had to pay full price, that's what we're trying to figure out. We have a little bit of information about how much it costs for one pair after the discount, after the 40% off, but we need to be careful here because she is not paying this much. 10, 20, 30, 40, this much. From here to here, that's how much she's not paying. She's not paying 40%. And so, although you're going to be very tempted to put $36.75 over the 40%, 40 right there, that's not actually where it goes. The $36.75 is actually what she's paying for 60% of the shoes. $36.75. Okay, $36.75 is 60% of the price. That's 40% off of 100%, represents 60%. And again, that's kind of what I was trying to explain in the last problem. She's not paying 40%, so she is paying 60%. I know that the number 60 is not anywhere in the problem, but that's one of those things you have to make sense of in your head. So if you're not paying 40%, then you are paying 60%. So the $36.75 actually represents the number 60 in this case, 60%. We need to figure out how much 100% is. So we can do this a lot of different ways. In the past, what we've done is we've tried to figure out what 10% was, and that was pretty successful. So we can do that. Let's try to figure out what 10% of the full price is. When I change from 60 to 10, I divide by 6. So I'm going to divide $36.75 by 6 and to figure out how much 10% would cost. So $36.75 divided by 6. And remember that $36.75 represents 60%. That's how much they had to pay if they didn't pay 40%. So 6 goes into 36 6 times. 7 one time, the decimal goes there, and it goes into 2 times right there. So it looks like we're going to have, because we are dealing with money, 5 right there. Because we're dealing with money, we would really only usually keep 2 decimal places, but because we're going to multiply that by another number here in a second, we're going to keep everything for now. So $6.125 is how much 10% would be. We need to know how much 100% would be. So if I know 10%, I want to change it into 100%, I multiply by 10. Same way here, I multiply by 10. And so you can see when I multiply by 10, you just move the decimal one spot. Each pair of shoes would cost $61.25. $61.25. And there you go. $61.25 is the regular price of the shoes. Just be careful. I know that it says 40% off, but in your head you need to understand that if it's 40% off, then we're actually paying 60%. That's going to be really tricky to think about. All right, so that's your answer key for the interim quiz, or the interim test.